What is up, guys? How are you doing? So today is a new day, like I say every freaking day, but I figured I'd start today with a little bit of a how-to. I want to relocate my battery to my trunk for convenience on my S13, so I figured I would show you guys how to do it. There's a lot of reasons why someone might want to relocate their battery to the trunk of their car. It might be for looks, might be for simplifying your engine bay, or you just have too much stuff in your bay like intercooler prepping that gets in the way now, so you have to move your battery there. For my case, I can't fit anything literally larger than a Miata battery in my car, and it just doesn't cut it. So I'm going to be relocating my trunk in the rear for convenience and for size. So first thing we're going to start off with is a battery. So you could either use your OEM battery if that's fine. If you're looking to get a new battery, you could essentially pick most batteries as long as it's in the cold cranking amp range of your car. The Honda CR-V batteries tend to work pretty well for a lot of people. They're smaller and they're very sleek, but they hold a lot of charge, so it works out very well. In my case, I need a whole new battery, so I'm going to go with the CR-V battery, but using your OEM battery is perfectly fine. So once you figure out what battery you're going to use, now we have to go pick up the wire. What we're going to need is about 20 feet of 2 gauge wire. 0 gauge is overkill, 4 gauge is a little too small, so 2 gauge is the way to go. So I went to my local auto parts store, I picked up a new battery. I got 20 feet of cable, terminal clamp, a wire fitting, and a pre-made grounding kit, which I already had on the car, so I'm going to reuse it. You could also make this from getting 2 more of these and some more wire. So the wire was actually pretty expensive because I bought it in stores, about $4 a foot. So if you want to do it cheaper, you could buy it online. So the best wire to actually get is welding wire because it's a very nice loose fitting cable. It's really easy to use, and you could probably get it online for about $1.50 a foot, so I would suggest that. So there's 2 ways to run it. You could either run it inside the interior or underneath the car. Running it inside the interior is a little nicer because it's not exposed to elements, but then it makes your interior a little bit harder to fit, so it's up to you. I ran it in the interior in the Z, and it was a pain in the ass, so I'm gonna run it underneath the car this time. So now if you're gonna run it underneath the car, I suggest getting these. This is so we're able to clamp around the wire and mount it safely to the car so it doesn't hang or drag or anything. So these I got at Harbor Freight. These are pretty cheap. I think it's like a $4 for this whole multi-kit, and you can pick them up basically anywhere. Lowe's, Home Depot, your local hardware store, so get it. With basically all cars, your ground wire basically just goes straight to your chassis. So wherever your battery is, just put it right into a nice chassis spot, which I'll show you later in the video. For your positive wire, the important one that you're sending all the way to the front of the car, on most cars, you could basically put all the power right onto the starter wire and you'll be all set. Sometimes you could just basically make it easy, and like on the 240, there's already, you know, your power terminal right here, which actually just goes basically straight to the starter and straight to the alternator. You can get rid of this fitting and attach the new wire straight to here and tape it up and tuck it, and you won't even see it. So I think that's what I might do, just so I can leave my accessories right here and we should be all set. Now you're going to want to open your trunk and figure out where the heck you're going to want to put your battery. For the 240, you could basically put it in many places. I had it in the middle before, and it kind of takes up space when you're trying to put stuff in your trunk, so I would suggest putting it off on the sides. Some cars have like a nice little accessory trays right here you could fit your batteries into. A 240, you don't really have much room, so I'm going to end up placing mine probably right here, which is good because then I have a path to run my wire through down the right side of the car. So as you can see, I'm going to put my battery right here in the corner. Now what you really need is a battery box. So a battery box will hold the battery into place. I haven't decided if I'm going to either buy one or make one. You could buy universal ones at most auto parts stores that bolt to the trunk, and then the battery straps to that. So that's an option, or you can make one. So we're going to hold off for now, but I'm going to start running the cable. So I decided the best way to run my line was to actually drill a hole right here that acts as the side of the frame rail perfectly to bring it right up to the front and clears all the suspension parts. If you don't want to drill a hole, usually there's like a drain hole, sometimes over here, sometimes in the corner underneath like a tool tray or something. You're able to use that, and then just make sure you snake it over all your suspension parts. I'm gonna run it through that hole. I gotta put a grommet in there because 1, for water, and 2, you don't want the wire to rub away on the metal and then ground itself, and it could cause a fire. So I gave myself enough slack to reach my positive terminal, and we should be all set. Now we're gonna go underneath and anchor the wire down. You can see the wire above the subframe, and then there's the frame rail right there. I was gonna anchor it to the side of the frame rail, but I realized I could just use the brake lines right there and strap it to those, and I should be plenty safe. So it'll make my life a lot easier and it'll be really quick. So I have the battery cable tied all the way up to the front. Should be all set. You just always gotta make sure the battery cable is at least a few mils higher than the frame rail, so just in case you bottom out, you're not gonna hit your battery cable, and I think we're all good. So I was originally gonna do it straight to my starter just to make it like nice and clean, but it's a little bit of a mess right now. So until next time I pull my training harness, I'm gonna keep it the easy way and basically put it right on my old battery terminal. So I'm gonna take off this fitting, put the crimp on here and attach it and tape it up, and we should be looking good. Got the connector crimped on, and now I'm gonna undo this terminal and bolt it straight to it. Now my battery wire attached to my starter harness, which is attached to my body powers also, so I'm gonna tape this up so it's not exposed and then tuck it off to the side and it should be all set. Terminal end on, and the power cable is now officially done. Now the next step is the ground wire. The ground wire is easy. Essentially you gotta ground it anywhere, really where there's fresh metal. The frame would be perfect. Try not to get it on like super thin metal like this. Try to get it on like a thicker piece. Luckily, Nissan puts this one bolt here that goes into essentially the rear frame rail, so I'm gonna use this. Just make sure you scratch some paint off underneath so it grounds nicely. Ground is all on and secure. Now the wiring part should essentially be done. Tighten that later. So the car has power. Beautiful. So now the big part is the battery box. If you don't secure this down, it's gonna go everywhere, and this is just a giant 20-pound weapon at that point. So you can go to your local auto parts store and get a plastic tray that bolts to your trunk and it holds the battery down. That's not a bad option. They're actually pretty cheap. I might make one. I'm gonna make up my mind in a few minutes. All right, so I actually decided to make my own battery box. You can make some fancy battery boxes, but I'm gonna make a very simple and easy to make one that you could make with basically no tools, or with very little tools. So I have a piece of stainless steel that I got hooked up with by Logan Steel a few weeks ago, so I'm gonna be making out of this. So I'm gonna make this as simple as possible just to get the job done. So I'm very fortunate because it's the same width as the battery. It doesn't need to be exactly the same width, but around the same width would be perfect. So that's one less cut I have to make. For my first cut, I'm gonna leave about 3/4 inch on each side and then go from there. I cut the shape out and I made 2 notches in each side and drilled a hole. Now what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna bend this tab up on each side and the thing should basically be done. Now I bent both tabs up and I put these battery tie down rods that you can get at literally any auto parts store. They're like $5 and it's a perfect fit. The battery hold down kit, that's what it is. So now the only thing I need is a piece of metal to go across the top to hold it down. So I'm gonna have to cut another piece out of the steel and drill 2 more holes. And just like that, I have an easy and cheap battery box that isn't going anywhere. So this thing is now officially planted to the box. Now I left this overhang all around, so now I could use this as mounting points to the car. I use through bolts, so I'm gonna use a few self-tappers just because they're convenient and easy and they do hold down very well. But make sure when you mount the box down, you're not gonna screw into your gas tank because it's very close. As you could see on S13, the gas tank is literally from here over, and that's why I really kitty corner mine, because since the gas tank doesn't start till here, I'll be found mounting it back here. Alright, so I had to go run out and do another parts run because, as one might have guessed, self-tappers do not like to go through 16 gauge stainless steel. So I went out and bought a drill bit to drill through the stainless, and then it's going to tap itself into the car, and that should do it. Base plate is bolted down, and just like that, it's done. I'm really stoked. It came out pretty good for how little effort I put into it, but this thing is now solid, nice and simple. You don't need to go crazy, but we are all set. And I guess that's it. I guess that's all it takes to put your battery in the trunk. So if anyone has any questions, I know I'm probably not the best at explaining things. I'll try and answer as many as I can in the comments. And if there's any questions that are asked a lot, I'll just pin it so you guys could hopefully just see it in the future. So awesome. Thank you for watching. Alright, so getting on to the typical vlog stuff. So Brian just sent me a picture and he already painted the fenders, which is crazy because I gave them to him yesterday. So I guess we're doing that. So I guess I'm gonna take off my metal fenders now and get it in preparation for Brian to bring me the fiberglass fenders back from paint, which will hopefully be tomorrow. So I'm excited. We're gonna take this thing back apart. All right, what do you guys think? Big letter Sylvia grill or small letter? I don't know. So this is what I've had on, and this is the one I just got. Comment below, let me know which one you guys like best. I didn't notice it yesterday, but Brian actually got a lot of the damage out. It's actually pretty straight now. But as you can tell, these were vinyl wrapped. Now the only thing Sylvia on my car is the hood. It's upsetting. So my driver's side headlight took a pretty big beating at the track and broke off all 3 mounting points. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attempt to epoxy them back together, or plasti weld, whatever you wanna call it. I've used this stuff in the past, it has done me super well, so I'm gonna load this up. Permatex black plastic welder. So I've used this in the past, it works really, really well, so I'm gonna load the crap out of it on here and try and glue these pieces back together. They all fit pretty well. So this chunk was a nice clean break, as you can see right here, and same with the other 2 pieces. So I'm gonna mix this up and start applying. This stuff smells so bad, holy crap. This stuff is a little bit messier than I remember. Holy crap. So I'm gonna let that dry. It already started to cure very quickly. So I'll probably clean that up afterwards, but I'm pretty confident that's gonna hold. There's a lot on there. So there's not really much holding my car from being back on the ground. I'm not a big rush. The next drift event is on the 9th, which is cool because that's in a little bit over a week. That's plenty of time to have my car back on the ground and dialed, and I'm super excited to get some more seat time in. The car ran amazing last event. The angle kit felt so good. Shout out to Villains for that. I can't get over how smooth it felt, and the front tires made a huge difference. I'm super excited. So, sorry, today was more of just like a quick how-to. I didn't get much done today. It was kind of an off day, but whatever. Tomorrow is a big day. I am going up to meet Strange Planet, and Strange Planet actually is the print shop who actually handles all of Haggard's stuff. They also do Caleb's stuff and a bunch of other companies that I don't know off the top of my head. So we're gonna go meet up with them. I'm actually gonna pick up some parts for the 240, some new rare parts that I'm super excited about. So I hope you guys are excited too. And can you guys guess what they are? Try. Guess in the comments. But you know the drill. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna edit this video. I'm gonna go to sleep. So you guys have a great night. Like, comment, subscribe, but literally like the video. Just like it for me because it helps a lot. So take care. Good night.